Previously, Akira went to a convenience store to buy beer. There, he encountered a beautiful girl named Shizuka. Shizuka then looked at the camera and realized that Akira had led many zombies to this area, so she thought she had to leave the place as soon as possible. She saw the zombies entering the store but decided to wait for them to come at her, and if the timing was right, the out-of-control truck would hit the convenience store and she could escape. But suddenly, Akira jumped in front of her to save her. However, she dragged him away, saving him from being crushed by the truck just in the nick of time. Now, we see a little girl crying for her mother in a fancy restaurant. The manager brings her a drink as he encourages and praises her, mentioning that she has done well so far and does not need to be afraid. Soon, one of the staff members comes to him and tells him that they have come again. He bids farewell to the little girl, explaining that he has a meeting. But she knows that something is wrong and begins to shake. He holds her hand and calms her down. Then he calls upon the rest of his crew to get going. They head outside to fight against the zombies. They went with bottles of fire and fought with the zombies. On the side, a man who the zombie had already bitten held his hand as the zombie virus began to spread. He simply wanted to be like Shu, the manager who sought to protect the club and everyone in it. Meanwhile, in another place, Akira rides his bike to Shinjuku and discovers that the place is completely different, and there are so many zombies there. It's been a while since he was last there, so he rides his bike away. A few hours before, he found himself with ample time to stay at home, unbothered by the opinions of others. Standing in front of the mirror, he contemplated growing a cooler, longer beard and experimented with strange marker lines on his face. Chuckling at his antics, he washed it off and returned to his room to find a long-awaited message on his phone. Filled with excitement, he eagerly scrolled through the notifications, realizing that he hadn't been able to connect with the outside world for a while due to the invasion. Over the past 3 years, he had been so engrossed in work that he had turned down numerous invitations and missed out on social events. With the invasion behind him and access to his phone and the internet restored, he felt a newfound sense of freedom. As he gazed out from his balcony, he noticed that the people he could spend time with were now mostly zombies, a consequence of his workaholic lifestyle. He spotted his friend Kencho's number on his phone, his friend who had advised him to quit his stressful job. Reflecting on his past choices, he recognized the value of balance and vowed to make better use of his time, embracing the opportunity to reconnect with friends and enjoy life to the fullest. Kencho, at the other end, tries to come out of his room, but his passage is filled with different types of zombies, making it impossible to come out of the room. At that point, when he looked through the door, he opened it slightly. A zombie rushed towards him, but he immediately closed the door. He sat down in frustration, because for days, he had only been able to drink water. He looked weak already and needed to get food as soon as possible. He is stuck in the room with a monster zombie, which he has tied up with a handcuff. He looks hungry and cannot imagine dying of hunger. Just then, he began to think of Akira and their college days, unable to understand why he was thinking of him at that moment. Suddenly, his cell phone rings, startling him. He answers to find Akira on the other end, speaking in a strangely calm and casual manner. Akira asks for Kencho's location, but Kencho senses something off about the conversation and hangs up after mentioning he's in Shinjuku. Akira hurries there, reminiscing about their 4 years of friendship where Kencho was always the lively one, making everyone laugh and enjoying life to the fullest. Akira recalls another memory when they were at a bar, and Kencho talked about becoming a real estate agent due to his communication skills. Kencho showed off his new girlfriend, but at that time, Akira was already feeling like a zombie, having been exploited by his corporation and losing patience with others talking about their good lives. Kencho asked him to quit his job already, and then Akira shouted at him, telling him how obnoxious he had been with all his bragging about his personal life, which led to a heated argument, and they eventually parted ways. Right at that moment, Akira rushes to find Kencho. Meanwhile, Shu is the sole survivor of the battle against the zombies, barely holding on in his weakened state. Prepared for the worst, he awaits the inevitable, but just as the zombies are about to capture him, a mysterious sound echoes through the area. The sound attracts the zombies' attention, causing them to disregard Shu and leave him unharmed. He can hardly believe his luck. Inside the place where Kencho is trapped, the sound also reaches him and lures the zombies away, prompting them to abandon the area. It turns out that the source of the sound is a car with a rugby ball attached to the horn, creating a constant and loud noise. This ingenious plan was devised by Akira to distract the zombies. Akira comes out from the water where he was likely hiding and enters an establishment. Kencho, who had been wondering about the commotion, leaves his room and goes to investigate. He sees that the zombies have left and follows the sound coming from the end of the corridor. Nervous and uncertain, Kencho is startled by something in the rooms behind him, causing him to look back. At that moment, Akira arrives and startles him further by placing a hand on his shoulder. Kencho can't believe that Akira came for him. Before Kencho could say anything, Akira begins to apologize for his actions. He admits that he should have listened to Kencho's advice and left the exploitative company, but instead, he let jealousy of Kencho's successful life cloud his judgment and took it out on him, despite their friendship. Before Kencho can say anything, Akira's crying and shouts attract the zombies back to their location. They are forced to flee to the terrace, where they block the door with some exhaust fans they find there. However, the zombies are relentless, and Akira suggests they jump to another building on the side. Kencho hesitates, stating the distance is too long for them to attempt the jump. As Akira positions himself for the jump, he insists that they will only know if they can make it by trying. Without hesitation, he takes the leap, soaring over the edge and landing on the other building with a roll. Though he is in pain, he manages to survive the daring jump and yells back, encouraging Kencho to give it a try. Kencho is uncertain and apprehensive about the distance and height, taking a few steps back to gather his courage. He apologizes to Akira, expressing his doubts about making the jump. At that moment, Kencho opens up to Akira about his true feelings. He confesses that he never liked his job and that every day was filled with lies and deceit. He had to pretend to be someone he wasn't, promoting bad contracts and pretending to admire his superiors for the sake of company recognition, fancy dinners, and other superficial benefits. Despite all these external trappings, he felt empty inside. Kencho admits that he was a terrible person who boasted about everything, all while knowing he was lying to himself to fill the void. But Akira interrupts and acknowledges that Kencho's jokes were his way of ensuring everyone had fun, to which Kencho agrees and says that his actions were driven by a genuine desire to serve his customers sincerely. Kencho then reveals that, deep down, he wanted to be a stand-up comedian, shouting it out loud in the moment. Encouraged by Akira, Kencho musters up the courage to jump as well, narrowly evading the reaching zombies. In a surprising and emotional moment, Kencho removes all his clothes while in midair, hoping to gain momentum. Although Akira finds Kencho's actions amusing, he doesn't hear Kencho's call for help as he struggles to hold onto the edge of the building. Just as it seems Kencho might fall, Akira reaches out and manages to pull him to safety. As the night falls, they build a fire and begin to talk about their harrowing experience. Kencho expresses his admiration for Akira, acknowledging how amazing he was during their ordeal. He believes Akira has the potential for great success and even envisions him as the savior of humanity from the zombie threat. However, Akira remains modest and doubtful about such lofty expectations. In a heartwarming conclusion, it turns out that Akira achieves another goal on his list, sharing a drink with his friends. This moment of camaraderie marks a symbolic victory for Akira, and the two friends find comfort in each other's company after facing such a challenging and life-changing experience. And that's the end of the third episode. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, goodbye.